Hi everyone, this is Sarin from Trees Meat and Kittens. Welcome back to my channel and I am with Mora the cat. Say hi Mora, you're destroying my vintage hand mirror. Anyway, let's talk about something that I noticed recently, even though I was kinda semi-aware about it for a while, and then I googled it and then I didn't come up with a definitive answer. But why do clothing manufacturers always do this, even if they know that this kind of ruins the integrity of a garment? Why do clothing manufacturers construct entire garments using the overlock stitch? Like, bakit nga ba? Why do they do it, Mora? Now, you guys might be looking at me wondering, Sarin, what's an overlock stitch? Well, I will show you guys what an overlock stitch is. In fact, it is something that can be done using a 3 or 4 thread overlock machine, also called a serger, which I have behind me right now. Hello everyone, this is an example of what we're dealing with. This is an ordinary duster using t-shirt fabric. As you can see here, this is not an overlock stitch. That's not the one used for the hem. We're actually talking about a different stitch. You'll see here. That is my boyfriend in the living room. I hope you can't hear him. But yes, look at this stitch. Ayan. This is an overlock stitch, which is simulated or made using the serger or an overlocker. Usually it's used sa seams or for the seams of a stretch material like these. So you can see this usually on the side seams of t-shirts and anything of the sort. You can also see it here. Used to put the sleeves, set some binding over the sleeves. This is what they used. I want you guys to look, even at the clothes you're wearing right now, look inside them. Look at your hems, look at your seams, like over here at the side, usually for shirts. I dare you to look at them, and you will probably find an overlock stitch. Now, what's the problem with this, you might ask me? Well, first off, when you're sewing jerseys or knit fabrics, so jerseys, knits, anything that stretches, seamstresses or people that sew might prefer using the overlock stitch to finish the edges or the seams because this stitch has some flexibility. It also has some stretch, so it does match with the fabric. But then the problem is, I've noticed that even in non-stretch fabric or woven fabrics, they're put together entirely using the overlock stitch. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. And this is a gift to me from my yaya, or my boyfriend's yaya. She loves buying things from live streaming and ukay. And look at this, you can already see the problem here. These stitches are giving out. This is a pair of shorts, home shorts. Probably locally bought from Taytay. They're a cotton linen material. And you can see here the front and side panels or pattern pieces of the short are attached using only an overlock stitch again. Now, yeah, you can see it. I'll be showing it here and trying to pay attention to what I'm showing while I'm talking. Not very good at it. So yes, you can see here, there's very flimsy overlock stitch on something that is not a stretch material. So this is a woven fabric, doesn't stretch. And you can see this stitch is also used for something that has a lot of movement, the crotch area of these shorts. So that's a problem, see? Butas na. These are holy shorts because as you can see here, the stitches are already giving out. So the primary purpose of an overlock stitch is to seal the seams or hem or the edge. That's why it's the overlock machine, sometimes also called an edging machine or a serger. So it's meant to really seal up your edges. It's not really made to put two fabric pieces together in a construction perspective. If you're putting two non-woven pieces of fabric together, your best option is still to use a straight stitch. But I've seen non-woven clothing that's just put together using the overlock stitch, and I just ask why. Well, of course, the answer is obvious. So these manufacturers are probably cost cutting and trying to save on money. And one more process down the sewing chain, more people to pay someone to operate a separate machine. It drives up cost quite a bit. And fast fashion is ultra cheap now, so they skip on every process that they can do. So, what's ideally a good construction of a non-woven fabric? Let me show you guys. So this is the fabric or the part of a Lolita dress that I got from the thrift store. I love her, absolutely love her. I haven't decided how to style her yet. It's little Red Riding Hood themed. So I saw this dress at the thrift store and I saw the stitching. There's a lot of really nice stitching detail here that just is chef's kiss. So we're gonna look inside. This is a cotton blend, not pure cotton, but it's cotton polyester mix. I would see what the fabric make it is from the brand, since this is from a Lolita brand. And let's just quickly look at what's underneath or inside the garment. You see here there is a lining that's also cotton based. And see here, we're gonna look at the stitches. This is the lining. Okay, I'll try to be. This is the lining. You can see an overlock stitch there, yep. But you can also see this. This is a straight stitch that connected the front and back part of the lining, the two pieces of the lining together. First off connected with a straight stitch, and then the edges are just finished with the overlock or edging stitch. Like, you can attach two pattern pieces, two pieces of fabric together with a chain stitch, with a straight stitch, and then overlock the edges, or better off, overlock each fabric piece separately, then attach it together with a straight stitch. Why are manufacturers not doing this? Doing this will give you a sturdier garment overall. Now let's show you some examples so you guys know what I'm talking about. So here I will be doing what's standardly done to construct a garment. I'm starting with straight stitch to attach the two fabric pieces together. This is just scrap muslin I had in my stash, so it's fraying a lot. I just cut it up for this video purpose. And I am also using a red thread. It's contrasting, so the stitch is more visible on camera. And that is the first part of standard construction done, just attaching the two fabric pieces using a straight stitch. And now, since that part is done, I will be overlocking The edge of this seam, because the edges are fraying and this really seals in, locks in that thread so it does not fray. And this is the finished result, what I think is decent standard when it comes to woven fabric. The overlock machine really neatens the edges, stops the fabric from fraying, and I think this is a decent finish. This is what you should look for in woven material. But everyone, what if I told you I think there's a better way? What if we reverse the process and instead of starting with a straight stitch, we start with the overlock stitch? Here you can see I have two fabric pieces together, two squares of muslin that I will be attaching together for the purpose of this video. I'm going to start by overlocking each edge of the fabric. And after they're overlocked together, that would be the time when I will be attaching them together with the straight stitch. And here's the finished product. You can see they're attached as usual, but then these two fabric pieces aren't overlocked together but separately. I think this is a better finish and I'm gonna show you why. Here is the two muslin pieces separately overlocked and then sewn together. And why I think this is the superior finish is exactly because of what I'm doing now. I'm taking it apart. Yes, I sewn it together to demonstrate how to do it, and I'm taking it apart for the purpose of this video. Now, I make costumes and clothing as a hobby for myself, and one thing makers or people who make their own clothes do is they tear apart their clothes a lot. They make mistakes, you make adjustments, or over time, you may want to adjust a costume or an outfit you made to add more seam allowance, to adjust it to fit you better. And I think when each fabric piece is separately overlocked, you can take it apart without really damaging each separate piece. So as much as possible, I overlock separately in case I need in case I need to tear it apart in the future. Here you'll now see me trying to seam rip or take apart the first sample I made where the two fabric pieces were overlocked together after a straight stitch, and you can see that after I take apart the straight stitch I also have to seam rip the overlocked parts because stops the it doesn't separate after the straight stitch is removed. It kind of puts a stop gap there, and I have to also pick out all the overlock stitches. There, it's stopping the fabric from being deconstructed basically. Yeah, you can see that here. Now, if I actually had to unpick something like this, I would just cut off the entire overlocked part and save myself the trouble. Although that's a waste if I only had to do a minor alteration. If I'm sizing down a garment, I think that's fine, but if I'm trying to make it roomier, it helps if there was more seam allowance and if the two fabric pieces were not attached together using the overlock. Why does fast fashion make it so that we can't adjust our clothing or alter our clothing more easily? If I see clothes finished this way, it's usually older clothes where they construct it like this, or clothes handmade by people or made by myself. Honestly, I wish I saw this in more clothing choices out there. And while we're also here, guys, I want you guys to know that the shorts I showed in my sample videos earlier, I actually went through them. I picked apart the hem and I'm going to reinforce the stitches because the overlock stitches are going apart. I'm going to reinforce this all by going through them with a straight stitch. I have a lot of house shorts that were all linen, so they're very comfy. I use them daily, but they're all constructed like this, which really is sad. So I'm gonna maybe set aside a weekend to go through all them with my sewing machine so the stitches don't fall apart and that they last me longer. And here's the finished result. The hole is gone. I can wear it again. Yay. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys found it interesting. If you like more videos than this, if you like more videos like this, please like and subscribe. I generally make sewing videos these days because I'm like in my sewing era, I think. Yes, but also crafting, cosplay, shop talk. Next time you're out thrift shopping, look inside a garment and see if it's just sewn together with an overlock. It will tell you a lot about the manufacturers that put these clothes together. So that's it for today's video. Thank you much for watching. Bye bye.